What if the life you're living right now isn't even close to the one you're capable of? Imagine waking up every day not just motivated, but driven, clear about where you're going, confident in your ability to get there, and unstoppable in your pursuit. Most people never experience that kind of alignment. They're trapped in cycles of doubt, distraction, delay. They have dreams, but no structure, energy, but no direction. They've been told to work hard and stay positive, but no one gave them the tools to build real momentum. That's where everything begins to change. Because here's the truth, success is not some mystical destination reserved for a chosen few. It's a system, a pattern, a rhythm you can learn and embody. Think about it. What separates the people who break through from those who burn out? It's not luck. It's not privilege. It's principles. There are certain mindsets, decisions, and strategies that, once applied consistently, make growth inevitable. But most people never tap into them. They're stuck, waiting for permission, waiting for signs, or worse, waiting to feel ready. But you don't need to wait. You need a roadmap. A roadmap that doesn't just talk about dreams, but breaks them into actions. A system that teaches you how to build your energy, master your emotions, command your focus, and accelerate your results. You already have the spark. What you need is the fire, the formula, the shift. Because your next level isn't just possible, it's overdue. If you've ever felt there's more to life than what you're living, you're absolutely right. The breakthrough isn't somewhere out there. It's in the next decision you make. The time to rise is not someday, it's now. And the path forward is already in front of you if you're bold enough to take the first step. We live in a world overflowing with information, ideas, and ambition, yet strangely many still feel lost. People chase success, chase fulfillment, chase meaning, but often without a clear understanding of what they're really after or how to actually get there. They set goals because they're told to. They pursue dreams that aren't even their own. In the rush to make it, they rarely stop to define what success truly means for them. As a result, many end up overwhelmed, discouraged, or simply exhausted. They wonder why they're not getting the results they want, despite how hard they're working. The truth is, it's not a lack of desire or discipline holding them back. It's the absence of direction. Everywhere you look, there are people grinding day after day, hoping for a breakthrough. They attend workshops, read books, listen to podcasts, and consume every piece of motivational content they can find. And while inspiration is powerful, it doesn't last if it's not supported by strategy. It's like trying to build a house with enthusiasm but no blueprint. You can have all the energy in the world, but if you're building in the wrong place with the wrong tools, progress is slow and often frustrating. That's where most people find themselves, trying hard but going nowhere fast. What's needed isn't just more motivation, but a clear path, a real actionable roadmap, something that connects your internal drive to external outcomes. A structure that helps you identify your true goals, develop empowering habits, overcome limiting beliefs, and stay focused when life inevitably gets hard. This isn't about achieving some picture-perfect version of success based on other people's standards. It's about discovering what success means to you and then building it from the ground up with purpose and precision. Once you begin to see success not as a mystery, but as a formula, a process, you begin to realize that extraordinary results aren't reserved for a lucky few. They're available to anyone who commits to learning, applying, and adapting the right principles consistently. The power lies not in waiting for the perfect moment, but in deciding to take control. And once you take that first step with intention, everything starts to shift. The path reveals itself, the momentum builds, and what once felt distant suddenly feels inevitable. Success stops being a fantasy and becomes a lived experience, one decision at a time. Despite living in an age of unprecedented opportunity, millions of people feel stuck, overwhelmed, or unfulfilled. They set goals, make resolutions, chase dreams, and yet somehow still find themselves in the same place year after year. It's not because they aren't capable or intelligent. In fact, many of them are hardworking, creative, and full of potential. The real issue lies deeper. The problem is not effort, it's misalignment. People are climbing ladders that are leaning against the wrong walls. They pursue careers they don't love, chase money without meaning, and live according to expectations that don't reflect who they really are. As a result, their energy is scattered, their motivation fades, and their sense of purpose begins to erode. Most people were never taught how to design a life. They were simply told to follow a path, go to school, get a job, work hard, and hope it leads somewhere meaningful. But what happens when the job doesn't satisfy, when the hard work doesn't pay off, or when you realize you've been climbing someone else's mountain? That's when the internal conflict starts to grow. There's a quiet voice inside that says, this isn't it, but there's no clear alternative. So they stay in place, hoping things will change on their own. Another part of the challenge is emotional. Many people are carrying unprocessed fear, doubt, and failure from the past. These invisible weights affect every decision. They hold back from taking risks, avoid new challenges, and second guess themselves at every turn. The fear of judgment, the fear of failure, even the fear of success itself becomes a silent enemy. Without realizing it, people begin to sabotage their own growth. And then there's the environment. The people we spend time with, the habits we repeat, the content we consume, all shape our identity and influence our actions. If someone is surrounded by negativity, complacency, or small thinking, it becomes nearly impossible to rise above it. Environment either fuels transformation or traps potential. Sadly, many people are stuck in environments that don't support their growth, and they don't know how to break free. Ultimately, the biggest challenge is not the lack of resources. It's the lack of clarity, the lack of strategy, and the lack of belief. People want to thrive, but they don't have the tools to bridge the gap between where they are and where they want to be. Without a roadmap, they wander. Without structure, they stall. And without vision, they settle. The journey toward success doesn't begin with external actions. It begins internally with awareness and alignment. Before any meaningful change can take place, individuals must learn to master their state, the emotional, mental, and physical energy they bring to each moment. Everything is influenced by this state: decisions, reactions, relationships, and performance. When someone is in a disempowered state, even the best opportunities seem like obstacles. But in a focused, energized state, possibilities expand and confidence grows. Managing this internal power becomes the foundation for all other progress. Once this foundation is established, clarity becomes the next essential element. It's not enough to want success, one must define it precisely. Vague goals create vague outcomes. People often say they want more money, more time, or more freedom, but without specifics, those desires remain dreams rather than destinations. Clarity allows for measurable action. It transforms wishful thinking into focused intention. When someone knows exactly what they want and why they want it, the path forward becomes much easier to navigate. Action is the catalyst that turns clarity into momentum, but not just random activity, massive purposeful action, the kind that stretches comfort zones and disrupts patterns. Most people wait until they feel ready, but readiness is often a myth. It's action that builds confidence, not the other way around. Taking bold steps, even imperfect ones, creates experience, and experience fuels belief. Small actions taken consistently often lead to massive results over time, especially when they're tied to a strong vision. Another powerful force in the development journey is proximity. Who a person spends time with dramatically influences their standards, mindset, and habits. If someone surrounds themselves with people who settle, complain, or live in fear, they will naturally lower their own standards. On the other hand, being around driven, focused, and growth-minded individuals can elevate a person's thinking and inspire bigger action. Growth is contagious, but so is stagnation. Being intentional about who you learn from and associate with can accelerate progress exponentially. Finally, real success isn't just about achievement, it's about alignment. When people chase goals disconnected from their values, they may succeed externally but feel empty inside. The most fulfilled individuals are those who align their goals with their deepest values. They know what matters most to them and they build their success around it. That alignment creates a sense of purpose that sustains them even when challenges arise. Without this alignment, even great accomplishments can feel hollow, but with it, every step becomes meaningful. There comes a point in every journey where the noise fades and the truth becomes impossible to ignore. That moment, though often quiet, is deeply transformative. It's not the loudest voice that sparks the change. It's the most honest one. It's the moment when someone looks in the mirror and sees not just who they are, but who they've been avoiding becoming. They realize that waiting hasn't brought them closer to their goals. It's only delayed the inevitable discomfort that comes with growth. And in that stillness, a question emerges: what if I stopped negotiating with my potential? For many, this realization isn't triggered by failure. It's triggered by the fatigue of settling. It's the weight of knowing that playing small hasn't protected them. It's only shrunk their world. In that moment, the excuses start to lose their power. The fear, while still present, begins to feel smaller than the regret of not trying. This is where the real shift begins, not because the obstacles have disappeared, but because the commitment has deepened. The mind is no longer searching for the easy way out. It's focused on the real way forward. In this powerful space, decisions are no longer driven by what feels safe, but by what feels necessary. It's where someone chooses to rewrite their story. To trade in passive hope for intentional design, they might change their habits, distance themselves from draining relationships, speak up for the first time, or start showing up fully in their own life. Whatever it looks like, it comes from a place of unshakable resolve. Did you know the brain is actually wired to resist change, even if the change is good? It interprets uncertainty as a threat, which is why stepping into your next level often feels like danger instead of growth. But something incredible happens when you move anyway. When you take that action in spite of the fear, the identity begins to shift. You're no longer someone who only dreams. You become someone who executes. The gap between where you are and where you want to be starts closing, not because the path got easier, but because you got clearer. You stopped waiting to feel ready and decided to become the kind of person who doesn't need permission. That's not just a turning point. It's the moment you take back control. Success, in its truest form, is never an accident. It is the result of deliberate choices, repeated actions, and a mindset that refuses to settle. Throughout the journey of growth, there are countless distractions and detours that try to pull people off course. But those who rise above are not necessarily the most talented or the most connected. They are the ones who become the most committed. They make the decision, often quietly, to no longer live on autopilot. Instead of reacting to life, they start designing it. Clarity, energy, action, environment, and alignment. These are not abstract ideas. They are the building blocks of a life that not only achieves, but fulfills. Each one works like a gear in a well-oiled machine. Without clarity, even the most disciplined effort becomes misdirected. Without energy, ambition fades. Without action, vision remains theory. Without a supportive environment, progress stalls. And without alignment, even the greatest success can feel meaningless. Together, these principles form a roadmap that anyone can follow, no matter their starting point. What's empowering is that none of this relies on outside validation. It doesn't require luck, permission, or perfect timing. It simply requires a willingness to be honest about where you are, clear about where you want to go, and brave enough to take consistent steps in that direction. The truth is, every person already has the raw materials they need. What's often missing is the structure, the bridge between intention and outcome. This structure doesn't promise a life without struggle. It promises a life where struggle has meaning, where setbacks become setups, where failure is not the end, but the beginning of refinement. It creates a rhythm of growth that feels not just purposeful, but powerful. Because when you're aligned with your values, fueled by your vision, and surrounded by the right energy, success becomes more than a goal. It becomes a natural result. And perhaps most importantly, this approach to success invites people to expand, not shrink, to evolve, not conform, to take up space in their own lives instead of watching from the sidelines. It replaces hesitation with clarity, fear with action, and doubt with conviction. The journey won't always be easy, but it will always be worth it, because every step taken on this path brings you closer to becoming the person you were truly meant to be. This is your moment. Not the moment to wait, wish, or wonder, but the moment to move. Everything you need to begin is already within you. You don't need more time, more approval, or more confidence. What you need is a decision, a choice to stop delaying the life you know you're capable of living. The path won't appear all at once. It never does. But the next step is always clear if you're willing to be honest, bold, and consistent. Start by asking yourself what you truly want. Not what you've been told to want, not what others expect, but what lights something deep inside of you. Get specific. Vague dreams will always lead to vague results. Clarity gives direction, and direction builds momentum. Write it down. Speak it aloud. Make it real. From there, identify one action you can take today, not next week, not next month, to move in that direction. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be done. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, inspire you, and hold you to a higher standard. Audit your environment. What are you feeding your mind? Who are you giving your energy to? What are you allowing into your world that supports growth or stunts it? You cannot rise in an atmosphere that keeps you small. Make changes if you must. Protect your space. Commit to building habits that serve your vision. Small, repeated actions lead to big results. Don't chase perfection, chase consistency. You don't have to do everything. You just have to keep doing something that matters. Keep showing up, keep adjusting, keep going. The transformation happens not in one grand leap, but in the daily decisions that no one sees. This isn't about waiting for motivation. It's about creating it. It's about owning your journey. Right now you have a choice. Continue living the story you've been handed, or start writing the one you were born to tell. Choose to take the next step, not because it's easy, but because your future deserves it. The power to change your life has never left you. It's been waiting for you to claim it, and now's the time.